Imagine if the answer to repairing aging eyes wasn't found in a pharmacy, but in your kitchen fruit bowl. Tonight, before you go to bed, one simple fruit could set in motion a repair process in your eyes that no pill can replicate. Sounds almost too good to be true, right? But the science behind it is real, and it all comes down to how your body heals itself while you sleep. When the sun sets and the lights dim, something remarkable happens inside your body. Your brain begins to quiet, your hormones shift gears, and your organs prepare for a night of repair. But inside your eyes, especially as you age, the story is a little different. For seniors, the transition from light to dark often comes with difficulty. The world looks dimmer, shapes blur, and driving at night becomes frightening. The question is, why? What's going on behind those lenses that makes darkness so unfriendly as the years go by? Think of your eye as a tiny camera. The lens focuses, the retina captures, and the optic nerve sends the picture to your brain. But unlike a camera, this system is alive, and anything alive is subject to wear and tear. Every time light hits your retina, your eye cells burn energy to process that image. That energy used produces byproducts, tiny sparks called free radicals. When you're young, your body has a built-in fire department called antioxidants that quickly extinguish those sparks. But as you get older, the sparks keep flying and the fire department gets weaker. Over time, the retina suffers what we call oxidative stress. It's like rust on metal, slow, invisible at first, but eventually it weakens the structure. Now add sugar to the mix. Sugar doesn't just sweeten your tea, it sticks to proteins in your body in a process called glycation. In your eyes, this creates a sticky mess inside the lens and the retina. The lens clouds over, which we call cataracts, and the retina gets inflamed and scarred. This means that when night falls and your pupils widen to let in more light, the image that forms isn't crisp. It's like looking through a dirty window, no matter how much you try to rub it clean. Diet plays a central role here. For decades, seniors were told to avoid fat and eat more low-fat products, which were often loaded with sugar. The problem? These foods stripped away the very nutrients the eye needs to fight oxidative stress, things like vitamin A, lutein, and anthocyanins. Without these, the retina loses its ability to recharge at night. The cells that detect light, the rods, are particularly vulnerable. These are the very cells responsible for seeing in the dark. When they weaken, night vision becomes the first casualty. Imagine this nightly story inside the eye. As the room goes dark, the rods in your retina are supposed to switch on like night vision goggles. They need energy, oxygen, and protection from oxidative stress to do their job. But in the aging eye, those rods are like soldiers with broken armor. The free radicals attack, the sugar gums up, the gears, and the antioxidants that should defend them are nowhere to be found. Instead of sharpening your vision, your eyes are struggling to keep the lights on. Over time, this cycle compounds. Each night, a little more damage builds up. Each morning, the repair isn't quite enough. Seniors begin to notice small signs, straining to read under dim light, hesitating to drive after sunset, or feeling like the world has grown a shade darker. These aren't random inconveniences. They're signals that the delicate machinery of the eye is under attack and running out of fuel. The tragedy is that most people accept this as normal aging, as if blindness is written in our DNA. But the truth is, much of this damage is preventable. The decline is not simply about birthdays on a calendar. It's about how much oxidative stress your eyes endure, how much sugar floods your system, and how little antioxidant protection your diet provides. Aging may set the stage, but lifestyle determines how fast the curtain falls. When you close your eyes at night, it feels like the world outside shuts down. But inside your body, the opposite is true. That's when the real work begins. Sleep isn't just about rest, it's about repair. Every organ, every tissue, every cell waits for the moment you drift into deep sleep, because that is when they finally get the chance to heal. And nowhere is this more important than in your eyes. During the day, your eyes are on duty without pause. They are bombarded by light, strained by screens, and stressed by oxidative damage every second you're awake. It's like having a factory that never stops production. The machinery keeps running, and as long as it runs, it wears down. But when you fall asleep, production halts. The factory switches over to maintenance. The lights dim, the repair crew walks in, and they start patching up the damage. One of the main signals for this shift is melatonin. Most people think of melatonin only as the sleep hormone, but it's far more than that. As the sun sets and darkness falls, your brain's pineal gland begins releasing melatonin, whispering to your body, it's time to heal. Melatonin doesn't just make you drowsy. It's one of the most powerful antioxidants you naturally produce. It slips into your bloodstream, crosses into your eyes, and begins neutralizing free radicals that have been burning holes in your retinal cells all day long. It's as if a nighttime cleaning crew sweeps through, scrubbing away the residue left behind by hours of exposure to light and stress. In young, healthy eyes, this system works beautifully. The free radicals are tamed, damaged proteins are cleared, and the photoreceptor cells, the rods and cones, get a chance to recharge. But as we age, this system loses efficiency. Melatonin levels drop, oxidative stress increases, and the repair crew arrives understaffed. The eye needs reinforcements, but the toolbox is empty. That's where nutrition steps in. If the body has the right building blocks before bed, It can supercharge the natural repair process. Without those tools, it's like sending workers to rebuild a bridge with no steel or cement. Consider how your liver detoxifies at night. It's how your muscles repair tiny tears after a day of movement, how your brain clears out waste proteins that would otherwise cloud memory. The eyes are no different. They depend on nighttime circulation. It's nutrients and antioxidants delivered just as you sleep. Picture your retinal cells, those tiny sensors, lying dormant in the dark. They soak up nutrients, patch up membranes, and restore sensitivity so that when the sun rises, they can face another barrage of light. If the right antioxidants are present, they shield the cells like a blanket. If the right vitamins are available, they rebuild the walls. If melatonin is strong, it orchestrates the whole process like a conductor guiding a symphony. The tragedy is that many seniors go to bed on an empty fuel tank. They may have eaten processed foods high in sugar and low in nutrients throughout the day. They may snack late at night on sweets that spike blood sugar, which interferes with melatonin release. Instead of a smooth transition into repair, their bodies stumble into a tug of war between sugar-driven stress and the quiet work of restoration. The eyes, being delicate and highly metabolic, are often the first to suffer. But imagine a different story. Picture a senior eating a nutrient-rich fruit before bed, one loaded with compounds the retina craves. That fruit digests slowly, releasing antioxidants into the bloodstream just as melatonin peaks. The nutrients travel through circulation, reaching the eyes at the very moment they're ready for repair. The free radicals that would have chipped away at vision are neutralized. The rods and cones that detect light get the materials they need to recharge. By morning, instead of waking with a little more damage, the eyes wake slightly stronger. Night after night, the effect compounds, not dramatic in one evening, but powerful over weeks and months. This is how the body is designed to work. Sleep is not passive. It is the most active repair program you run. The key is whether you give it the raw materials it needs. With the right food before bed, the cleaning crew doesn't just sweep, it rebuilds. The conductor doesn't just wave the baton, he leads a full orchestra. The difference between slow decline and renewal lies in whether you choose to feed the system or starve it. If you look back just a few generations, you'll notice something remarkable. Seniors in traditional cultures, whether living in rural villages or farming communities, often carried their eyesight well into old age. They weren't squinting at every sign, fumbling in dim light, or giving up night driving as early as people do today. Their diets were built on whole, natural foods, seasonal fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and animal products raised without chemicals. These foods weren't fortified in factories, they were fortified by nature, packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that fed every organ, including the eyes. Now, compare that to what most seniors eat today. The shelves of modern supermarkets are lined with brightly packaged boxes, cans and bags, promising convenience and flavor, but delivering very little nourishment. Processed sugar sneaks into nearly everything, from bread to ketchup, and that sugar does more than add calories. It steals from the eyes, it spikes blood sugar, damages proteins, and fuels inflammation, leaving the retina vulnerable to oxidative stress. Instead of nourishing the photoreceptors that help us see at night, this diet starves them. Think of the eye like a lamp. It needs steady fuel to burn bright, but the modern diet is like feeding it with wet wood. It smokes, it sputters, and eventually the flame grows dim. Traditional diets, by contrast, were like dry oak logs, stable, powerful fuel that kept the flame alive. The fruits and vegetables our grandparents ate were rich in carotenoids, flavonoids, and anthocyanins, compounds with tongue-twisting names but life-saving roles. These act as shields for the retina, absorbing harmful light, neutralizing free radicals, and ensuring that rods, the cells that allow us to see in the dark, stay strong. The shift from natural foods to processed diets is more than cultural, it's biological theft. In the past, elders ate berries in summer, citrus in winter, leafy greens in spring, and root vegetables in autumn. They received a rotating supply of antioxidants timed to the rhythms of nature. Today, seniors often reach for crackers, sodas, and ready-to-eat meals. It's quick, it's cheap, and it's filling, but it's empty of the very nutrients their eyes crave when night falls. Without those antioxidants, the retina is like an army sent into battle without armor. Every exposure to light, every spike in blood sugar, every oxidative spark chips away at their defenses. What's striking is that in many indigenous and rural societies, night blindness was rare. Elders could walk under moonlight, tend to animals, or read under lamps without trouble. They weren't biologically different from us. They were nutritionally different. Their food choices gave their eyes the tools to repair themselves every night. Today's seniors, sitting under artificial lights and eating processed foods, are experiencing the consequences of a diet that's high in calories but bankrupt in eye, protecting nutrients. Science now confirms what tradition always knew. Foods rich in vitamin A, lutein, and zeaxanthin concentrate in the retina, protecting vision. Anthocyanins from dark fruits like blueberries and cherries improve night vision by strengthening blood vessels and boosting the sensitivity of rods. These are not exotic discoveries. They're natural facts that cultures once relied on without needing a medical journal to prove it. But once sugar and processed foods became the cornerstone of modern diets, these protective nutrients disappeared from the plate. And with them went the resilience of senior eyesight. This forgotten link between food and night vision is not just history, it's a warning. Seniors today are losing vision not simply because of age, but because their eyes are starving in the dark. They are starved of the very compounds that generations before took for granted in their diets. The problem isn't that the body lost its ability to repair the eyes at night. The problem is that we stopped giving it the raw materials to do so. Imagine a senior finishing dinner and settling in for the evening. The television hums in the background, the lights are low, and there's that small craving for something sweet before bed. Instead of reaching for cookies or candy, they choose a handful of deep-colored berries, blueberries, blackberries, or perhaps a small bowl of cherries. It feels like a simple choice, almost too small to matter. But inside the body, something extraordinary begins to happen. As those berries are chewed and swallowed, the skin and pulp release powerful compounds, anthocyanins, carotenoids, flavonoids, that slip into the digestive system and travel into the bloodstream. These molecules are not just empty calories. They're protective agents, tiny guardians designed by nature. By the time the senior drifts off to sleep, those compounds are already circulating, searching for places in the body where damage has taken its toll. One of their primary destinations is the eye. The retina is one of the hungriest tissues in the body. Even in darkness, the rods and cones require constant energy to stay ready for light. But that high energy demand means high exposure to oxidative stress, like sparks flying off a machine that never stops running. Anthocyanins, the pigments that give berries their rich blue and purple color, act like shields against those sparks. They slip into the delicate tissue of the retina, especially into the rods, the very cells responsible for night vision, and provide an extra layer of defense. Carotenoids found in cherries and other richly colored fruits concentrate in the macula and absorb harmful wavelengths of light, protecting the retina from further damage. Now, here's where the timing matters. At night, melatonin levels rise, signaling the body to enter repair mode. Melatonin itself is a strong antioxidant, but when combined with the compounds from the bedtime fruit, its power multiplies. It's like having a conductor guiding an orchestra. Melatonin leads, but the fruit provides the instruments. Together, they perform a symphony of repair. Free radicals that would normally scar and weaken the retina are neutralized. Damaged proteins are cleared out more efficiently. The rods that struggle in the dark get the nourishment they need to recharge. Picture this happening quietly as the senior sleeps. Blood vessels in the eyes, often stiffened with age, begin to relax under the influence of these plant compounds. Circulation improves, delivering oxygen and nutrients more effectively. The cells that were battered during the day finally get a break, shielded and restored through the night. By morning, the difference may not be dramatic in one night, but over weeks and months, the cumulative effect is undeniable. Instead of waking with slightly weaker eyes, they wake with eyes that are just a bit stronger, a bit clearer. Night vision, once fading, begins to stabilize. The beauty of this is how natural it feels. There is no prescription, no complicated protocol, just a fruit eaten at the right time, working in harmony with the body's own rhythms. Nature designed these compounds not as isolated pills, but as part of whole foods, bundled with fiber and other factors that allow them to be absorbed and utilized efficiently. Seniors who make this small change discover that their evening snack is not just a treat, but a form of medicine, one that slips quietly into the night and does its work while they rest. This is why the bedtime fruit changes the game. It doesn't fight against the body's systems, it partners with them. Instead of trying to override aging with synthetic fixes, it taps into the body's natural repair cycle and gives it what it's been missing. Seniors who embrace this shift find that vision loss is not a destiny carved in stone, but a process that can be slowed, even reversed, by giving the eyes the right allies at the right time. Inside every cell of the eye, energy is being burned like fuel in an engine. That fuel keeps your rods and cones working, sending signals to the brain so you can see. But just like a car engine, there are exhaust fumes, tiny, unstable molecules called free radicals. They are the sparks that fly every time the machinery of vision turns over. In small amounts, your body can handle them. But when they build up, they begin to damage the very cells that allow you to see. Think of free radicals like rust on metal. Left unchecked, they eat away at the structure until it weakens and breaks. Or imagine them as sparks jumping off a campfire. If you have a good spark guard, nothing happens. The sparks bounce off harmlessly. But without protection, those sparks can catch, burning holes where they land. In your eyes, the sparks attack the retina, especially the rods that allow you to see in the dark. Over time, those rods wear out and night vision begins to fade. This is where antioxidants come in. They're like fire extinguishers, rushing to neutralize those sparks before they can ignite damage. The antioxidants from colorful fruits, anthocyanins, flavonoids, carotenoids, have a special affinity for the eye. They settle into retinal tissue, positioning themselves exactly where the sparks are flying. Every night, as the rods and cones rest, these antioxidants sweep through like a repair crew, clearing away the damage and strengthening the walls. But here's the fascinating part. The timing matters. At night, your body produces melatonin, the hormone that tells you it's time to sleep. Most people think of melatonin as a sleep signal, but in truth, it's also one of the most powerful antioxidants your body makes. When melatonin rises, it works hand in hand with the antioxidants from food. It's like adding more firefighters to the crew. Together, they form a defense system stronger than either could provide alone. This synergy happens only during sleep. In the daytime, your body is in action mode, burning energy, managing blood sugar, focusing on survival. The repair crew can't get full access while the machinery is running at full speed. But at night, when you shut your eyes and drift off, the system changes. Blood flow redistributes, repair signals are sent out, and melatonin floods in. That is the window when antioxidants from your evening fruit can do their deepest work. They ride the bloodstream, reach the retina, and align with melatonin to neutralize free radicals, patch membranes, and restore sensitivity. Picture it like a workshop that only opens at night. During the day, the workshop is locked. The machines are too loud, too many people are in the way. But once night falls, the doors open, and the team of workers gets to repair everything that broke down. If you supply them with the right tools, the antioxidants, they don't just patch the damage, they rebuild stronger. If you go to bed without those tools, the workers arrive but have empty hands. They do what they can, but the job is incomplete, and the next day more sparks fly on top of yesterday's damage. This explains why seniors who nourish themselves before bed with antioxidant-rich fruit can see changes over time. It's not magic, it's chemistry working with biology. Every night, the sparks are inevitable, but whether they burn new holes or get extinguished depends on whether the shield is in place. By combining melatonin's natural rise with the antioxidant flood from fruit, the shield becomes nearly impenetrable. That's how the eyes, even aging ones, can keep repairing themselves long after many assume it's too late. Would you like me to keep unfolding this prompt into a longer, more detailed story with real-life analogies, like comparing different fruits and their antioxidant strengths, or keep it at this narrative length so it's easier to deliver as part of the full speech? Walk down any pharmacy aisle and you'll see bottles promising sharper vision, stronger eyes, and better night sight. Labels shout about lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamin A, or bilberry extract. It sounds convincing. Just take a capsule and you'll protect your eyes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of those pills don't deliver the way nature does. They're like giving someone a box of car parts without the instructions, the tools, or the rest of the car. Yes, the ingredients are there, but without the full package, they don't work the way you hope. Nature never designed nutrients to act alone. When you eat a fruit rich in anthocyanins or carotenoids, you aren't just swallowing a single molecule. You're getting it wrapped in fiber, balanced with natural sugars supported by enzymes, and combined with dozens of other compounds that help your body absorb and use it. It's a team effort, not a solo act. Fiber slows the release of sugars, preventing the blood spikes that can harm the eye. Enzymes help break down the fruit so the antioxidants can pass into your bloodstream. Even the color pigments interact with one another, creating a synergy you can't bottle in isolation. Now imagine someone popping a supplement pill. The capsule may contain lutein, but without the cofactors from real food, much of it passes through unused. It's like dropping a seed on concrete. No soil, no water, no sunlight, no growth. Supplements strip the orchestra down to one or two instruments, but nature designed vision protection as a full symphony. That's why studies on whole foods consistently show greater benefits than isolated nutrients in pill form. I once spoke with a woman who had been buying expensive eye supplements for years, faithfully swallowing them every night. But her night vision continued to worsen, and she felt discouraged. Out of curiosity, she switched her evening pill for a small bowl of blueberries and cherries. Within weeks, she noticed less strain under dim light. Within months, she could walk confidently in the evening again. Nothing dramatic happened overnight, but slowly her body responded. What changed? The fruit gave her body not just one antioxidant, but the complete package delivered in the form nature intended. The supplement industry thrives on the belief that pills are shortcuts, but shortcuts don't always get you to the destination. Whole foods deliver the message to your body in its native language. Pills often speak in fragments, missing the context. A fruit before bed delivers antioxidants along with hydration, natural sweetness, fiber, and co-nutrients that escort those compounds directly into the retina. A pill, no matter how potent it claims to be, can't mimic that harmony. This doesn't mean supplements are useless. Sometimes they fill a gap. But when it comes to protecting and repairing aging eyes, the most effective medicine may be the simplest: a fruit bowl, not a bottle. People spend hundreds of dollars chasing solutions in capsules, when a handful of berries or a ripe cherry before sleep could do what no supplement can: work with the body's own design. It's in perfect timing to restore vision naturally. Do you want me to stretch this narrative with more scientific depth, like explaining absorption rates, bioavailability, and real-world studies comparing supplements and foods, or keep it rooted mainly in storytelling and analogy to match the lecture style? Picture this: a senior decides to do the right thing before bed. They eat a small bowl of berries or a handful of cherries, giving their body the antioxidants it needs to help the eyes repair during sleep. It should be the perfect setup. But then, almost without thinking, they add a cookie, or a glass of sweetened milk, or a slice of late-night cake. What feels like a harmless treat quietly flips the switch. Instead of a night of repair, the body is thrown into a storm of sugar. Here's why that matters. When you eat sugar before bed, your blood glucose spikes. That spike triggers insulin, and instead of the body sliding into calm repair mode, it shifts into storage mode. The very hormone, melatonin, that is supposed to rise at night and signal repair, is blocked from working at full strength. Sugar and melatonin don't play well together. One shouts, "Store energy." The other whispers, "Heal." The louder voice wins and healing takes a backseat. Inside the eye, this is devastating. Remember, the retina is one of the most energy-hungry tissues in the body. It's already under constant attack from free radicals. When sugar floods in at night, it doesn't provide clean fuel. It turns sticky. Glucose attaches to proteins in a process called glycation, gumming up the machinery of the lens and retina. It's like pouring syrup into a clock. You don't make it run faster, you make it clog and break. Those sticky proteins cloud the lens, contributing to cataracts, and they damage the fine structure of the rods and cones, the very cells that let you see in the dark. On top of that, sugar sparks oxidative stress. Think of it like throwing gasoline on those sparks that are already flying in the retina. Instead of antioxidants extinguishing the flames, the sugar is feeding them, undoing the very work the bedtime fruit was supposed to do. The antioxidants try to protect the cells, but sugar keeps tossing in more sparks, more flames, more chaos. This is why many seniors feel like their efforts don't pay off. They may try to eat healthier, even add the right fruit, but if sugar sneaks in at the wrong time, especially at night, it cancels out much of the benefit. It's almost like fighting with one hand tied behind your back. The hero is in the room, the fruit with its antioxidants, but the villain barges in with more weapons. The battle is stacked and the eyes take the loss. The tricky part is that sugar hides everywhere. It's not just in desserts, it's in crackers, bread, sauces, even so-called healthy snacks. Many seniors eat what looks like a light supper, not realizing it's loaded with hidden sugars. Then, as they head to bed, their blood sugar is still high, melatonin is muted, and the eyes don't get the quiet repair they desperately need. But here's the hopeful side. Once you know sugar is the enemy, you can spot it and replace it with the hero. Choosing a piece of fruit instead of a sweetened dessert at night changes the chemistry of your entire evening. Instead of glucose spikes, you get slow digesting antioxidants. Instead of blocking melatonin, you work alongside it. Instead of feeding oxidative stress, you neutralize it. Night after night, this small decision shifts the balance from damage toward repair. For seniors, this isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Once you see sugar for what it really is, a thief that robs your eyes of their chance to heal, it becomes easier to make the swap. And once you give your body the hero instead, you'll find that the same sleep that was once stealing your vision can now start giving it back. So would you like me to expand this prompt into a longer version with more conversational storytelling, like comparing the sugarless fruit battle to a real life scene seniors can picture, or keep it at this level so the speech flows more quickly? Margaret was 74 when she first admitted to herself that something was wrong. She had always been independent, the kind of woman who loved evening walks with her neighbor and who prided herself on driving herself anywhere she needed to go. But lately, nights felt different. Streetlights seemed dimmer, headlights from oncoming cars blinded her, and the print on her favorite novels blurred if the lamp wasn't bright enough. She found herself avoiding driving after sunset, even though it meant missing her weekly card game with friends. She told her daughter she was just getting older, but deep down she felt that creeping fear, that her world was closing in. One evening at a community health talk, she heard a story that caught her attention. The speaker wasn't selling pills or miracle glasses. Instead, he described how certain fruits eaten before bed could work with the body's natural repair cycle at night. Margaret was skeptical. After all, she had tried supplements before and seen little change. But something about the simplicity of it stuck with her. That night, instead of her usual cookie with tea, she tried a small bowl of blueberries. She didn't expect much, but it felt like a gentle choice, one that gave her comfort. Weeks passed and Margaret kept the habit. Each evening, just before bed, she would sit with her berries, sometimes mixed with cherries when they were in season. She didn't notice an immediate miracle, but after a month, she realized something subtle. Reading before bed didn't strain her eyes the way it used to. The words seemed a little sharper, the lamp a little brighter. Encouraged, she kept going. By the third month, she grew bold enough to try driving to her friend's house again. She noticed the headlights didn't scatter as much across her vision. The fear of night roads began to lift. For the first time in years, she rolled down her window and really looked up. There were stars, clearer and more numerous than she remembered. She laughed, realizing it wasn't the stars that had dimmed, it was her eyes. Margaret's story isn't about a miracle cure. It's about giving her body the tools it needed to do what it was designed to do all along, repair itself. By trading sugar for the right fruit, she allowed melatonin and antioxidants to work together each night. Slowly, the tide shifted. Her independence returned in small but powerful ways, the confidence to drive at night, the joy of reading without strain, the peace of evening walks without fear of stumbling. What touched Margaret most was not just the clarity of her vision, but the sense of control she regained. She no longer felt like aging was something being done to her. She realized she could partner with her own body, feeding it what it needed at the right time, and the results would follow. So every bowl of fruit was no longer just a snack. It was a quiet act of defiance against decline. So would you like me to create 2 or 3 more character-driven stories like Margaret's? Different seniors with unique struggles, to weave throughout the full speech for stronger emotional impact? Or should I keep it to one central story that anchors the entire talk? When you step back and look at the bigger picture, it becomes clear that no single food can carry the full weight of health on its shoulders. The bedtime fruit may be powerful, but it is part of a larger story, a story of how the body was designed to heal, given the right tools. Sleep is not just rest, it is the nightly maintenance crew, repairing cells and restoring balance. But that crew can only do its job if the environment is right. Too much sugar clutters the system, hydration is overlooked, processed foods rob the body of what it needs, and the rhythms of nature, light and dark, activity and rest, are ignored. The fruit is not magic because it does not need to be. It is simply one of nature's tools, working alongside melatonin. It's working with hydration, working with balance. When seniors nourish themselves with whole foods instead of chasing pills, when they make sleep sacred instead of optional, when they cut back on sugar and let their circadian rhythm guide them, they unlock something that was never truly lost. The body isn't broken. It has been waiting patiently for the clutter to clear, for the right nourishment to return, for the chance to repair. That is the hope hidden in this story. Vision does not have to dim simply because the calendar moves forward. The eyes are not condemned to darkness with age. They are asking for care, for nutrients, for respect. And when they are given that, they respond. The fruit at bedtime is not about chasing youth or turning back the clock. It is about aligning with the wisdom of the body, which has always known how to heal. So when a senior sits down at night and chooses that bowl of fruit, they are not just feeding their eyes. They are making a statement: aging is not decline. It is an invitation to care differently, to live with more intention, to respect the design within them. Their vision can become a reflection of that choice, not just to see more clearly in the dark, but to step into a future where wisdom guides health and hope remains as sharp and bright as the stars in the night sky.